Hello everybody, this is Brody Koshi, and welcome back to another video. So, I'm back at around the kit again. Obviously you can't see it, and, I might as well just show you it. This is the kit here. If you were around from my previous channel, you might have seen it, but, so, if I move, there's the hi-hat there, the snare, high tom, middle tom, floor tom, and the ride cymbal. So it's a pretty basic drum kit. It's the same drum kit that I've had for about a year. No, a year, what? 7 years. So, yeah. Anyway, in this video, I am going to... Oh, well, also, I forgot to mention, I can... It's actually... I can try. You can... Man, it's actually kind of hard to get. You can kind of see there's the kick pedal. There it is. Anyway, wasting time. So as you all know, in the previous video on the channel, I was trying to guess every single AC/DC song in 20 minutes or less. And I sucked. I'm just going to say it out loud. I was absolute crap at that. So today we are back with a different video. I was going to do a tier list video, but I don't know, I wasn't really in the mood to do one, so that will not 100% be the next video on the channel, because the next video on the channel will be, well, I'll let you know at the end of the video. But today I'm going to be doing another reaction video, this time to an AC/DC album ranking. So it's a YouTube channel by the name of BACKTRACK RECORDS. I will leave their channel a link in the description, as well as the original video, which I highly recommend you go watch first before my reaction, because like I said with Hyperdroid's video, I take no credit in this. I contributed nothing to this video or anything. I'm just a random person on the internet just reacting to it. So be sure to watch his video first, then come back to mine. Yeah, so I will also leave the video link in the description. I don't know if I said that already. But, yeah, I wanted to, on the previous channel, I did a reaction to someone's album ranking video. I think it was called The CD Guy. And obviously I'm not going to react to it again just for the new channel, because it just ruins the whole point of a reaction. So, yeah, I just searched up ACC album rankings. This is the first one that I found, and I was pretty intrigued. I know for a fact this video might give me, I might get copyrighted for this, but I don't make any money off the bloody internet, so I don't really care. Hopefully this, mainly because I know that there will be a bit of music in there, but hopefully I should be okay. I guess we'll find out. So yeah, we're just, apparently there's only international versions and there's no live albums, which I'm thankful for, because whenever someone does a album ranking, I prefer that you do the studio albums only, because, like, while I get that adding the live albums in could be a cool idea, I don't know, there's just something about it that just takes away, the greatness of an album ranking, because I don't know, I feel like album rankings are better for studio albums. I don't know, that's just my opinion. I'm not the best on expressing my opinions with that stuff. But anyway, I am absolutely just blabbering on, so we're going to get straight into it. I'm just hoping, because I heard my dog, I hope he doesn't come to me and try and grab my attention. So I'm going to put my thing to there so you can see the whole video. There we go. So I'm a bit small, but anyway, we're 4 minutes in, and this goes for 20 minutes, and I've got places to be, so let's do this.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to BACKTRACK Records. In this video today, we'll be ranking all 16 internationally released studio albums for the rockers from down under, AC/DC.
Hell yeah.
In this ranking, we'll be going from my least favorite to my absolute favorite album by AC/DC.
Okay, my predictions is that the bottom one is either going to be Blow Up Your Video or Fly on the Wall, because that's what everyone wants to put there. And I'm going to guess that one of his favorites is either going to be Back in Black or Highway to Hell, because that ends up being everyone's favorite. And I can't be guilty of that. My favorite AC/DC album is Back in Black, so I'm not going to judge it.
So let us know in the comments what your ranking would look like for this great rock band from Australia. If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. So grab a drink and have a drink on me, and let's talk some AC/DC. What's going on, everyone? My name is Jason. Welcome back to BACKTRACK Records, and welcome to my ranking of every single AC/DC studio album, international release studio album, that is. So there's 16. I am not including the EP Jailbreak that came out in the early 80s. So there's just going to be 16 studio albums here
Very nice.
to talk about, which is going to be a lot of fun. I love AC/DC.
Same.
One of my favorite bands. So
Best band in the whole world.
Let's get right into it here. Let's not waste no time, and let's talk some AC/DC here. So coming
Hell
in at
yeah.
number 16 for me is...
I knew it! I knew it! Oh, I'm just going to say it. Blow Up Your Video is so underrated. So underrated. Blow Up Your Video is... I understand why people may not be the biggest fan of it, because the production compared to, like, for those about to rock and Back in Black isn't the best. You know, Brian Johnson's voice, like, it sounds like... Well, they did record it literally in a warehouse, and I'm pretty sure in an interview that I read that where Brian recorded the... like, his singing for this one, he was literally doing it in a warehouse, and there was no, like, soundproof or anything. He wasn't even in a booth. He was in a big open warehouse. That's why the... That's why his voice sounds so echoey in the recording. But it's still so good. Like, we have some bangers on this, like Heat Seeker. That's the Way I Want to Rock and Roll, one of my favorite AC/DC songs. Like, This Means War is a pretty banger of a track. All of them are so good, but, like, Heat Seeker as well, like, it's so underrated. I love this album. It's so good. There's no AC/DC album that I purely dislike, to be honest. Like, there's no AC/DC song that I dislike either. But, to be fair, if I was to rank the albums myself, I would put this at the bottom. Mainly because I don't listen to it a lot, and because of its production quality. And mainly because a lot of the deep cuts, I reckon, are not as good as the ones off Fly on the Wall. But, still, I feel like it's still at the... I can't really say what I'm about to say because it would sound hypocritical, but I'm going to say it anyway. I still feel like people always putting Blow Up Your Video at the end. I don't know, it's... Anyway, let's see what he has to say first.
Blow Up Your Video from 1988. Now, the cover is iconic on this album. There are some good tracks here. It's Heavy Loaded on side A. You know, If That's the Way I Want to Rock and Roll. The hit
Yes.
Heat Seeker.
Yes.
Mean Streak.
Mean
really
Streak.
do love that.
Goin' Zone-
I'm
Goin'
not
Zone's
really
really good
fond
song.
of the production of the album. I mean, the guitars sound okay, but it sounds a little overproduced to my ears. The vocals sound like they're deep in the background a lot. I just find the songs really forgettable. I don't find it's the band's best work, and I don't know.
I disagree. I don't really find... Then again, I'm a massive AC/DC fan, and I'm trying not to be biased in this video. I should have mentioned I'm trying not to be really biased in this video. Because I'm really positive about pretty much everything that AC/DC's done. I mean, there's a couple things that they've done that I've sort of been like, okay, what? But that's been, like, outside of studio albums. But... I don't know. I feel like there's some good ones there. I can see what he means with the production one. I get that. But I don't know. I feel like these deep cuts are not really forgettable, but okay.
Maybe the whole MTV production had a lot to do with that, but you get Blow Up Your Video, 16. Going at number 15 is their late...
Okay, now I have a problem with this one. Okay, this is where I have a major problem. You're going to put Power Up, a tribute to Malcolm Young. Not saying that he should have this high just because it's a tribute to Malcolm Young, but this album is so good. The production is great. Phil Rudd returns once again, and like Demon Fire, Kick Me When You're Down, like Shot in the Dark. Like, these songs, like the deep cuts on this haven't been this good since, like, I don't know, since Black Ice's deep cuts. So, I don't know, this return of an album is really good. And to release it during a really crappy year, it released in 2020, as you can tell, but...
Latest album from 2020, and that's Power Up. Brian Johnson was losing his hearing, so this really delayed this album and everything. And
I don't think it was due to that. I think it was just because, well, Black Ice and Rock or Bust had 6 years in between. No, they had 1, 2, 3, 4. No, they did have 6 years, and the gap between Rock or Bust and Power Up was also 6 years. I don't think it was definitely not to do with Brian Johnson's hearing, because that was all the way back in Rock or Bust. I think this album just got delayed because I don't think it was really delayed. Like, if it was planning to release earlier, it might have been pushed back because of the virus. I don't know if I'm still allowed if we're allowed to say it's still on the internet, but anyway.
You know, all the songs were still written by Angus Young and Malcolm Young. At the time of this album, Malcolm would have been dead about 3 years, I believe. But,
yes,
you know, the boys were ready to rock again. Power Up, it sounds kind of like a video game to me, like when you get a power up, whatever you, it's kind of funny. But I get it. You know, we're ready here to rock and roll again. It's not a bad album. Like, I don't think AC/DC really has done a bad album. I think they're all very listenable. Great rock riffs, great rock tunes. I think this one still needs to grow on me a lot more. I mean, the song opens up with the song Realize. That's pretty good. There's a lot.
When was this? Oh no, this is only 2 months ago, so this is recent. Okay.
A lot of really good rock tunes here. I just find a lot of them are forgettable. I think the production's good. I think the guitars sound great. The vocals sound pretty good, considering, you know, an okay rock album from a legendary band. I mean, you put this record up against everything that's out now in rock, it's a freaking classic as far as I'm concerned. You will find I like my old stuff. I'm not that fond of a lot of stuff coming out or newer bands and stuff like that, but Power Up, that's why it sits here. Coming out at number 14 is Stiff Up.
No, you can't. Oh, no. Okay, you can't have Stiff Upper Lip this low. Like, okay, having it below Fly on the Wall, I can see that, because Fly on the Wall was more classic and more legendary. But having Stiff Upper Lip this low, like... Then again, compared to all the other albums that are coming up, I get it. But, man, I hate to see Stiff Upper Lip this low. Stiff Upper Lip is another underrated album. Like, you got some great... Like, Safe in New York City, Satellite Blues... Come and Get It, Give It Up, like, the title track, like, Meltdown, House of Jazz, so good. Some of AC/DC's best work in terms of their newer stuff. I'm calling everything, pretty much every album that I'm saying is, like, their newer stuff is pretty much from Stiff Upper Lip to Power Up. Everything before that, I call it their older stuff. So... Anyway.
Upper Lip. Now, this has a great production, I find. I love the title track.
It was the final album as well that George Young, their Angus and Malcolm's brother, produced. And he produced this himself, because every time he's produced an AC/DC album, he did it with a guy called Harry Vander, which was his bandmate when they were in a band called the Easy Beats back in the 60s. But George Young did this all by himself, and the production is absolutely amazing. Really well done.
Upper Lip, I think that is a great groove to it. It's back to the old bluesy rock kind of stuff. This was the album I saw them on tour. I saw them on the Stiff Upper Lip tour. This is where Slash's Snake Pit opened up for them, which they were great too. I love that band too. I love Slash in general and all the stuff he's done. But it was a great show. Just one of the best concerts I've ever been to. The tracks they played off this album, they really worked live, I found. I mean, they really had that energy live. I will say this album is very front loaded again, and it's an album that you really bop to. It's like you really dance to it, you really move. It makes you want to move, it makes you want to get up and everything like that, and just move. You know what I mean? It's bebop. It's a very bebop rock album. It just loses me on the second half. The second half of the album is just not as good and not as memorable for me. But that first half, I was really digging what the band was doing on the first 5 or 6 tracks on this album. Coming out at number 13 is Ball Breaker. Now, this is the album that I was in high school for. I was like grade 10 or something like that when Ball Breaker come out. I'm a huge AC/DC fan. That's when I started learning the guitar in grade 9 at 14 years old. And so I'd been playing guitar for about a year, and I just, you know, that's why I learned the guitar, is playing all AC/DC riffs and everything. And me and my buddy would jam out Hard as a Rock and, you know, Ball Breaker and all these tunes off the album. I do like this album. I really do. I think I liked it a lot more back then than I do now, though. And, you know, Hard as a Rock's a great track. Cover You in Oil is a really great bluesy riff rock tune. Great rhythm on that tune. Love what the band is doing. I love what he does with his vocals on Ball Breaker. Like, you are a Ball Breaker! You know what I mean? I just love that, and just love the riff behind it. Just great hard rock stuff, but good album, man. You know, production's great again. Guitar's really out front. I love what they did with this album. Coming at number 12 is Black Ice, which I...
Ooh, really? Black Ice over Ball Breaker. Alright. I'm not sure about that one. I'd put Black Ice below Ball Breaker, but Black Ice is still an amazing album. It is their longest album in terms of tracks, not runtime, I think. Maybe? No. Or is it their longest running album in terms of runtime? I should know this. I think so. But it has the most tracks on an AC/DC album. This is the only AC/DC album that has gone above 12 tracks. Because at the time, AC/DC was releasing albums that would either have about 10 or 12 tracks on the record. And they decided to come out and release a 15-track record. And all of the deep cuts on this are bangers. I really hope he doesn't say that any of them are forgettable, because I can highly disagree. Because I pretty much call the deep cuts everything after War Machine, excluding Black Ice. So you got like Smash and Grab, Spoiling for a Fight, Wheels, Stormy Mayday, you know, Money Made, She Likes Rock and Roll, Rocking All the Way, Rock and Roll Dream. Like, it's so amazing. Like, and like the undeep cuts, like the more well-known ones, like War Machine is such a banger of a track. It is a song that makes you just want to jump up and down, go full speed on the highway. It is such an amazing song. Rock and Roll Train is an amazing opener. Skies on, like, Big Jack is really good. Anything Goes gets slept on too much. Anything Goes is one of the best track on this record. Don't Fight Me. So good.
I believe was from 2008. I believe this was this a double album? I can't quite remember. I think it was. But there was a lot of tracks on this. Maybe it could have been trimmed down. This is just a solid rock record, doing what they love to do, just blowing our faces off. Now,
I mean, to be fair, there was an 8-year gap in between this album and the previous album, Stiff Upper Lip. And Angus and Malcolm, like, during that period, they wrote a lot of songs, which all of the... from an interview that I read, after the Stiff Upper Lip tour, they took a teeny little hiatus, and Angus and Malcolm sat down and just wrote a crap ton of songs. And Angus was saying there's like a box just full of songs that they've written. And pretty much all the songs in that period, before they recorded Black Ice, have been on the 3 albums that we've gotten, Black Ice, Rock or Bust, and Power Up. They've all been from that There's probably even more that were, like, written, you know, after Black Ice that got put in Power. I don't know, but I'm pretty but most of them was when, after the Stiff Upper Lip tour, Angus and Malcolm sat down, just wrote a lot of songs, and a lot of them got put onto Black Ice, and amazing. That that was the that was the first studio album that came out after I was born. I was born in 2002, so I was born 2 years after Stiff Upper Lip. 6 years later, we got Black Ice. But the first AC/DC album that I brought when it first came out was Rock or Bust. Because when Black Ice came out around the time I got into AC/DC, but by the time I got into AC/DC, Black Ice was already out by then. But I remember when Rock or Bust was announced, I was so excited. And on the day it released, I got my dad to take me down to a music store down where I live. And we brought Rock or Bust, and I just blasted it in the car. And on the way home, because I didn't finish it in the car. But it... so memorable. I love Black Ice as well. It has a special place in my heart because that was, like I said, that was the album that came out on the same year I got into AC/DC. So Black Ice has a massive place in my heart. And my dad and I have bonded over Black Ice a lot, mainly because of tracks like War Machine and stuff. So it does have a special place in my heart.
Our faces with just great rock riffs, just great tunes for the most part. I always dug Decibel on this. Really
Decibel's
cool
so
blues
good.
groove to it. There's a lot of people like Big Jack, solid tune there. Rock and Roll Train, that's it. That song just like
that song live is
AC/DC,
incredible.
still blowing our faces off. You know, what
I
I
heard
mean?
that live and
Just
it's so
an
good.
absolute banger. They did stuff a little different. Like there's a song called Anything Goes that's almost ballad like
Yeah.
80s rock ballad.
But it's so
a lot
good.
more melodic than you would expect from AC/DC. You know what I mean? And another single they did, Money Made. I think the rhythm is terrific. Just
Yes.
really rhythmic stuff.
I
in
love Money Made.
You hear those two guitars working together so well between Malcolm and Angus. So this is a very, very decent rock album. Coming at number 11 is Rock or Bust.
I'm grateful that Rock or Bust, it didn't make it to the top 10, which is understandable if you compare it to all the other albums that he's about to list. But at least in terms of the newer stuff, this is up the top. Because Rock or Bust, once again, has a special place in my heart because this was the first album, AC/DC album, that I, brought when it released. Because, like I said, Black Ice was already out by the time I really discovered AC/DC. Because I discovered them when I was like 5, 6 years old, around that time. So yeah, I love Rock or Bust so much. Like, the opening track, Rock or Bust, is a great tune. Play Ball, it used to be my alarm at one point. Play Ball was so good. I just love how it opens with just Phil Rudd just doing a flam and then bang, straight into it. Obviously, it wasn't a great period for the band because this is the first album that Malcolm did not participate in because he was, he started suffering from his dementia around that time. So they had to bring in Stevie Young. But he wasn't really new to the AC/DC scene because he did fill in for Malcolm Young during the Blow Up Your Video tour when Malcolm Young had to take time to recover from his alcoholism. So, yeah, Stevie was not new to the scene, obviously, but it had been a while since he was doing anything with AC/DC. But he still did an amazing job on this album. And obviously, Phil Rudd had some controversial stuff going on, like they said, by the skin of his teeth. So pretty much not long after this album was recorded and he did all his tracks, there was stuff with law enforcement and stuff, but we're not going to get into that. Unless he does, then I guess so. But yeah. It was obviously a difficult time for the band, but they pulled through. What I was going to say, Plan Ball, how it starts with Phil Rudd opening with a flat. I think I already said this. Rock the Blues Away is amazing. Dogs of War is a banger. There was another one that there was. Hard Times is just something that you could just sit with your mates and just absolutely bang your head to, because Hard Times is so good. I just love every track off this record.
Bust.
So
this
good.
is the album without Malcolm. Their nephew took over. Stevie Young, I believe. And, you know, Malcolm still wrote all the songs for this. Him and Angus still wrote all the songs for this. I usually see this near the bottom of most people's rankings. I've been listening to it the past week. I really dig it, man. I love the bluesy rock to it, the guitar tones.
It makes me want to listen to it again.
Goes through so much, you know, years ago, losing Bon Scott. You know, now they lose Malcolm, the driving force behind this band. Are they going to rock or bust? They're going to rock, right? I really do like this album, man. The title track, Rock or Bust, is great. They got Play Ball, the other single, that's really cool. Rocking the Blues Away.
Also, Play Ball, I remember because they released that as a single on iTunes. And this was before Apple Music even existed. It was just plain old simple iTunes. And I remember when Play Ball got announced, I got my then stepdad to purchase it for me and download it onto my old-as iPod. And I remember just putting it on repeat in my room because I loved it so much. And I was so excited that I was getting to be a part of, like, a new release. It was so good.
Really good stuff, man. Really decent tracks. Just a very solid
The
rock
deep
album
cuts
from
are
front to back.
10 out of 10
Not
on
their
this
best,
stuff.
not their worst, but very solid, I would say. You can't
Yeah,
keep this
that
band
has
down,
been better.
still coming out and giving us bangers, you know what I mean? All right, guys, we're on our top 10 now, and coming at number 10 for me is Flick of the Switch. And from here on out, man, like...
Okay, Flick of the Switch at number 10? I mean, okay, I see that. I can see that. I mean, obviously, ACD... Okay, I need to stop talking that much, but I'm just going to pause this just for a quick second to say, obviously, this was the record where AC/DC tried to do the producing themselves, like, as a whole band, and it worked, I will say. And obviously, this was the last album that Phil Rudd did with the band before he left them for the first time, and then obviously he came back for Ball Breaker. But yeah, this was the first, this was the last album in terms of Phil Rudd's first period with the band. Because I don't know if a lot of people actually knew that, but yeah, Phil Rudd actually did the recording on this, and then he left, and Simon Wright took over for the rest. But yeah, Flick of the Switch, even though AC/DC produced it, they did an amazing job on the production, I feel like. Like, Rising Power is really good. Flick of the Switch, Nervous Shakedown is a pretty much slept-on track. I don't care what anyone says. Nervous Shakedown is amazing. There's Badlands. There was a period where I would listen to Badlands on repeat because it is such a banger. Badlands is so good. There's just something about Badlands. But anyway.
The top 10 here, these are great rock albums. Flick of the Switch is great. Great title track, Flick of the Switch. I love Guns for Hire.
Yes.
This House is on Fire is really
This
good.
House is on Fire is
Rising
amazing.
Power, great. This really in-your-face rock. The guitars sound great here.
Brain Shake.
Love the tone of the guitars on this album. Nervous Shakedown, though, that may be my favorite song on this album. I love Nervous Shakedown. Pure rhythm. Pure rhythm. And what Brian Johnson does
so
on the
good.
vocals is great. Very powerful stuff, you know, Nervous Shakedown. And this whole album, always loved this album. I remember playing this on cassette tape back in the day a lot, you know what I mean? So Flick of the Switch, absolutely great rock album. Coming at number 9 is Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap album.
I would have put it a bit higher,
album.
but
again,
yeah.
Good mix of hard rock, like Dirty Deeds, and then we got a lot of blues rock in here. Changing the tempos up a lot on this record. I mean, you go as fast as hell with Rocker, the track Rocker, and then we slow it down right at the end with Ride On. Great tune.
I love Ride On so much.
Bluesy tune where Angus
Ride
really
On
puts
is
his soul
underrated.
into the leads and everything like that. Love the tune Ride On. I love Bon Scott's lyrics in it.
The lyrics are so
good. I like the
good.
Bon Scott era lyrics a lot better than the Brian Johnson ones.
So do I.
And we got Love at First Feel, Big Balls, a really comedic kind of song.
Big Balls
again,
is so
clever
good.
lyrics by Bon Scott. Ain't No Fun Waiting Around to Be a Millionaire. Fun track too. So
Highly
this whole
underrated.
album's really fun. And I believe on the Australian release, you had Jailbreak as the last song.
Yep.
And that's one of my favorite AC/DC songs ever. So
Jailbreak
Dirty
is so
Deeds,
iconic.
though, the international release is
If you don't say that Jailbreak is iconic, I don't even want to talk to you. Jailbreak is one of the most iconic AC/DC songs of all time, and has one of the most iconic music videos of all time.
Still great stuff, man.
I said
Great
it.
stuff. Coming at number 8 is High Voltage,
All
their
right.
very first
I can see that.
international released album.
Yep.
So this, to me, is their first album.
I will say this, the Australian versions are better. Obviously, I don't think this guy is Australian, judging by the sounds of things. But I will say it, the Australian releases are better. Mainly because, obviously, like on High Voltage, the tracks are a bit all over the place. But I still feel like the tracks that are on, like, the High Voltage one, I don't know, it just feels, I don't know, I can't describe it properly, but it just feels better to listen to the Australian version, because of its, like, track listing, because you start off with Baby Please Don't Go, like, and not to say that the international releases are terrible, absolutely not, I just feel like the Australian ones are better, because they're more iconic, and I think the track listing is better. Even though it can seem all over the place, I think the track listing is better. But, I don't know.
So Australians, it'd probably be their third or something like that. Can't really remember, but...
He did just not say that for Australians it would be their third release. Unless he's talking about, like... Because us Australians also got the international releases. If it was, like... If we are talking about in terms of just including both Australian and international versions, for us Australians, yes, it would be technically their third release, but if you're talking about just Australian only, it would be our first release. Our third Australian album was Dirty Deeds.
Man, this is one of those albums when you're listening to, you think it's a greatest hits album. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll. We got TNT, Livewire, High Voltage, Can I Sit Next to You, Girl? I love what Bon Scott does.
Amazing.
Can I Sit Next to You, Girl? Like, can I sit next to you, girl?
It's so awesome.
I love that part of that song. But my favorite's Rock and Roll Singer. I absolutely love
Rock and Roll Singer is so highly underrated.
This album has a lot of long intros before they start singing, so a lot of jams, you know, a lot of these songs, they're just jamming out at the beginning. Early AC/DC was like that, just jamming out at the beginning of songs, where you didn't really get singing to almost a minute, maybe past a minute of these tracks.
But that's what made them so good.
Just a great album. We used to jam High Voltage all the time. One of the first songs I really jammed with a band that we got really tight and everything like that. So I got a lot of nostalgia for this album. Me and my buddy just putting the album on and learning the tracks, playing along with it, learning to play guitar and stuff like that. Just great album, man. Coming at number 7 is The Razor's Edge. This is, the very popular Thunderstruck tunes on here. Money Talks, Fire Your Guns, Rock.
I don't care what anyone says, Thunderstruck is a great track. I know it's played a lot everywhere, but Thunderstruck is amazing. One of the most iconic AC/DC tracks of all time.
Your heart out. I will say I believe this is their hardest album. I don't consider AC/DC a metal band at all, but this...
No, I hate it when people say that AC/DC is metal. I'm going to say it. I don't care what anyone says. AC/DC is not metal. Heaviest, they are hard rock. They're not metal. Okay? They're not metal. Like, metal bands do create tracks like AC/DC have done before. Like, Metallica is a good example of that. But AC/DC is hard rock. They're not metal. They are 100% not metal.
This album may be the reason why some of people call them a heavy metal band. I love Angus Young's guitar tone on his lead playing on this album. You really hear it in Let's Make It and Money Talks.
I love all the some of his
really
solos are really good on this.
His guitar tone. I don't know if he was just using a different kind of SG or what, man, but I thought it was phenomenal. I just love his guitar
he uses the same guitar for every album.
Now, this may be an unpopular opinion, but I think AC/DC works best at around 10 songs on an album. I think there's 12 here.
Nope. Absolutely not. more AC/DC, the better. No, but in all honesty, I feel like it's better when... I feel like their albums are much better when they actually do 12 songs. Because I feel like 10 is just kind of... I don't know, 10's sort of like unoriginal. Because a lot of albums, they do like, you know, around 10 tracks. Especially like rock bands and stuff. Like AC/DC. Not to say that when AC/DC did 10 tracks it was cliche. But... or unoriginal. But I don't know. Just having those extra 2 tracks on the end is just sort of, you know, the cherry on top.
Darkest song on the album is Razor's Edge. That's where it's really getting into
Oh,
more darker tones,
I love the
more
Razor's Edge.
metal-like,
It's
I would
actually
think.
so good.
If this album was called something else and it wasn't the title track, I would have chopped Razor's Edge and I would have chopped If You Dare and took those songs out and maybe just added them on another release or something like...
No. Okay, nah. You can't take out the Razor's Edge. Like, I understand you can take out If You Dare. It is a really good track, but obviously compared to, you know, the more well-known ones on this track, on this album, it's sort of like just there, just chilling. But you can't take out the Razor's Edge of that album. Even if it was called something else, hell no. The Razor's Edge is so good. The Razor's Edge is amazing. The opening, how it's like, you know, Angus going from like, you know, slow to, he goes, like, he goes, like, fast and then slows back down. Then you hear, like, the eerie backing vocals and then just, it is so good. And the chorus, like, here, come, like, I'm not gonna sing because I'm shit, but you can't take out the Razor's Edge of that album. There is so many good things about that song.
Like that. Called the album maybe Thunderstruck.
No, you can't call it that.
Solid 10 tunes, because you know this. You take those 2 songs out. To me, they're the weakest songs. This album was...
No. You can't come on here and just say the Razor's Edge is the weakest track. Obviously, you have your own opinions, but I'm reacting, and I'm allowed to disagree with these opinions. You really can't just say that the Razor's Edge is one of their weakest tracks off this album. Hell no. If I was to be completely unbiased and say what their weakest tracks were, I'd say probably If You Dare and probably their last 2 tracks. Like, Goodbye, Good Riddance to Bad Luck. Like, they're both amazing tunes. But if I was to be so unbiased and say what are their weakest songs, it'd be the final 2. Or, no, not Goodbye, Good Riddance, no. Now that I think about it, hold on. Because I forget things. I'm just gonna... The Razor's Edge. I'd say, like, Shot of Love and If You Dare are, like, their weakest tracks. If I was to be completely unbiased. Mainly because those ones... If I was to listen to just a bit of it, I would probably not really worry about Shot of Love or If You Dare. Because I don't go out of my way to listen to those tracks really, like, as individuals. If I was to listen to the whole album, of course, I wouldn't skip them, but in the end, I still love those tracks. But if I was to be... Yeah, you get the point. But you can't come on here and say The Razor's Edge is one of the weakest songs of that album. Hell no. Like I said, there are so many good things about the song. The opening, the riff, the chorus, the drumming on that. The backing vocals with Brian Johnson's vocals are so good on that track. There's no way you just said that.
But I think it would have flowed a lot better. Not like listening to it recently a few times. You know, just take those 2 songs out. In a lot of ways, I don't even think The Razor's Edge fits the album for me personally. But
What? You just want to repeat that to me? The Razor's Edge does not fit that album. If you listen to all the other tracks on there, like, sure, compared to Thunderstruck, it's completely different because Thunderstruck is more upbeat, whereas the Razor's Edge is more slower. You know, the drums are a bit different. It's not much of a driving song. Like you said, it is more of a darker song. It's more heavier in terms of, like, rock. But if you compare it to all the other songs that are on there, like, Are You Ready? Like, I don't know, I understand that Are You Ready is more iconic. Trying to think, like, Mistress for Christmas, like, If You Dare, Goodbye and Good Riddance. Like, if you compare it to, like, those ones, like, you can see why the Razor's Edge fits on that album.
There's some really good bangers in here, too, like that we don't talk about as much. Like, Good Riddance to Bad Luck, I think, is a great tune. I love what Brian Johnson's doing over the vocals, and that is really catchy. Same with Let's Make It. That's a really
Let's
catchy
Make
tune
It is
with
highly
a really
slept
great
on.
solo. You got the great mix of that rock and that really hard rock, you know what I mean, with Fire Your Guns, Thunderstruck. Then you get all these other kind of songs on here, like Money Talks, very blues-based, and
you can't hate
Rock
on
Your
Money
Heart
Talks.
Out, and Are You Ready? I mean, probably one of my favorite AC/DC songs of all time. That tune just melts my face. It is a banger.
I love Are You Ready
Are You
so
Ready? It
much.
just gets me so amped up, man. Just gets me jacked. I absolutely love Are You Ready? But great album, this one. Coming at number 6 is Let There Be Rock. This is another great album, man.
Yes.
Not many songs. I think 8 in total. You
8
got
songs,
Go
yeah.
Down, Dog Eat Dog, Whole Lot of Rosie,
Go Down, highly underrated.
Let There Be Rock. That's one of the
Just
best
so many
AC/DC
iconic
songs
tracks
as
on
far
this
as I'm
album.
concerned. I love the lyrics in Let There Be Rock. I like the way the song plays out. I love the main riff and all the lead work Angus is doing. Just really old
Let There
school
Be
kind of
Rock.
rock. And just this idea of how rock began and the lyrics and everything, the white man had the smallest, black man had the blues. No one was going to know what they was going to do, but Tussie had the news. Let there be light, sound, drums, guitar, let there be rock. You know what I mean? Absolutely freaking love it. And that line where there's 15 million fingers learning how to play.
It's so good.
You could hear the fingers picking. Oh, man. Such a great track.
And this is what they
Great album, man.
So good.
I think I'm just I just got overtired of Whole Lot of Rosie just because in the band back in the day, we jammed the shit out of that song, man.
I know, but it is so good.
So many bloody times.
And live it is amazing.
But I can go back to this album, and I just love it, man. I think it's just a great hard rock album. Coming at number 5, probably the black sheep of the family.
Yes, it is the black sheep of the family. And, wow, really? Like, I didn't expect it to be this high because a lot of people put it lower, mainly because the production value is kind of similar to Blow Up Your Video, but slightly better. And it looks like it says Flow on the wall. But I guess, yeah, it kind of annoys me how the hole should have been on the O, but I guess why. I understand that they put the I there because I fly. You get what I mean? But it would have been better, in my opinion, if the I was there. I don't know, that's just me. Like, that's the only part that sort of throws me off of the album cover. But everything else, like the fly, the music, like the whole little music video thing, a lot of people say that that music video thing that they did with the storyline about how there's a snooper going around taking random pictures of strangers at a bar while AC/DC's playing. A lot of people think that stuff is weak. I think it's awesome. I think it's funny, iconic. I think it's some of AC/DC's best work in terms of music videos. I just love it. It's so funny. And Fly on the Wall has some great... I'm just going to let him speak because I'm letting this drag on too long and I apologize.
I think this is a fucking badass album, man.
Yes, it is.
It may not have the greatest production,
yep,
but I love Fly on the Wall, the tracks. Like, when you just take a look at Fly on the Wall, Sink the Pink, Shake Your Foundations, they are bangers, man. On any
First
other
Blood
AC/DC
as well,
album,
don't sleep on that
they're
one.
hits as well, amongst their other great hits. These are some of the greatest AC/DC songs I find. Definitely Shake Your Foundations, Sink the Pink. I personally love Danger. I think Danger is a great groove.
Danger is one of the best tracks off Fly on the Wall.
And everything. And how Brian Johnson is singing that great chorus and the band is all just leveling up. You know what I mean? Getting louder and louder. Very dynamic song, I think. Great tune. I love it. I know a lot of people don't, but I love it. We got those music videos back in the day where they strung it along. It was like a little movie.
Yes.
Fly on the Wall and all that kind of stuff. It's, it's kind of dated now watching it, but when they play Shake Your Foundations and the whole fucking bar explodes, and you see the backdrop of the Twin Towers in New York, and they're still going, and
really?
That represents AC/DC there. Blowing the roof off the freaking joint, you know what I mean, with their freaking raw, gritty rock and roll. I love it. I have always loved this album. I will never understand why people don't talk about this album more. I don't. It has to be explained to me. because these songs just get me ready to rock. You know what I mean? Coming at number 4 is Power Age. Now,
Yeah,
this is
it's
an
good to
album
see
that
that
when I was
Power
a
Age is getting
teenager,
some love.
I wasn't that fond of really. It was like a lot of the songs I didn't feel were very well known. Not as popular, I guess, but man,
But
when
that's
you
what makes
actually
this album
sit and
so good.
listen to this album,
It's so underrated that
full
it's
of
so
great
good.
riffs, Bon Scott's on point, very bluesy stuff in here, like Gone Shooting, and we got the
And can we talk about What's Next to the Moon? How there's literally like, there's a part where, you know, it's a driving force part of the song, and Cliff, Malcolm, and Bon are singing at the same time, like, oh no, looking for a fingerprint, looking for a mystery clue, like, and singing it all together. It is so amazing. That part gets me every time, always gives me chills.
great track Sin City, Kicked in the Teeth, one of my favorite Bon Scott tracks. That's just
Kicked in the
so
Teeth is
full
really
of energy,
good.
that tune. Very hard rock, man. Very awesome. What's Next to the Moon is great riff raff. The songs may not stand out as iconic or the titles, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? But
No,
when
yeah,
you
that's
just go
fair.
to listen to this, you come off it after going, that's one of their best albums, and it is,
Yeah.
man. It's just a great rock album that honestly blows your balls off. It's awesome. All right, man, we're on our top 3 now, and for me, number 3 is For Those About to Rock, We Salute You. I absolutely adore this.
It has my favourite AC/DC track on this, which is the title track. The main reason I love it is because I love how it starts off like slow and melodic and bluesy, and then it goes into this hard, like it goes into this faster hard rock sort of thing, and it goes like, if you hear it live, oh, live it is so awesome. But the cannons as well, I love this, and also just the deep. Pretty much, I would say pretty much every single song after For Those About to Rock, excluding, I'd say, Let's Get It Up, are deep cuts, because they're not also really well known. But the deep cuts off this album are just pure. It's just all 10 out of 10. Like, just, what's the word I'm looking for? Pure perfection on this album. No, I don't want captions.
Rock album. It's kick-ass on vinyl, man. Crank this up on your turntable. Just amazing, man. It blows your socks off. It is awesome, man. The title track, For Those About the Rock, I just absolutely love. It's so energetic. Really love the lead, the solo in this. I love how Angus and Malcolm are playing against each other. The whole intro is just amazing. You know, it's just so memorable. I mean, we got Put the Finger on You. We got Let's Get It Up. I mean, this is a great riff, great tune there. Really rhythmic stuff. But then you got the ones that are not as talked about, like COD, Snowballed. Maybe one of the most underrated songs. Snowballed is a great
Spellbound
tune, man. And Evil Walks.
Yes.
Evil Walks is absolutely amazing, man. That is so powerful. Evil Walks. I mean, how dynamic this song really gets. The riff, the rhythm, everything. The riffs that are going on. You know, and this evil walks beside you.
I really hope he puts back up like
Just
at 1.
absolutely love what they're doing on this track. Inject the Venom, another great tune.
Inject the Venom.
It's perfect.
So
it's practically
perfection.
Perfect, man.
It is.
Obviously, there's going to be another album that's perfect that's ahead of this, but this is near perfect, man. I love For Those About the Rock, We Salute You. Coming at number 2 for me is Highway to...
I know what's going to be number 1. Yes. This is also my second favorite album by AC/DC. Highway to Hell, you cannot get enough of. Like, Highway to Hell, obviously. Girls Got Rhythm, like, highly slept on track. Girls Got Rhythm is so good. The opening, like, it's like, dun, dun, like, the riff is so good on this. And I love the chorus so much. Walk All Over You. Touch Too Much as well. Touch Too Much is definitely my favorite song off this album. It is so amazing. Like the beginning, how it's just... Dun, 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 dun. I don't know. It's better if you listen to it. Be sure to listen to Touch Too Much if you haven't. The opening is just immediately just gives you chills. It is so amazing. It's one of Bon Scott's best lyrics on this one. Beating Around the Bush is amazing. Shot Down the Flames, also pretty iconic. Like, If You Want Blood, also iconic one. Love Hungry Man and Night Prowler. Completely underrated, highly slept on.
Highway to Hell's got my favorite production. I think it's produced the best in the sense that
Yeah,
it's
it
mixed
actually
the
is.
best. The way they
It
mix
is.
the vocals, the guitars, the bass, the drums all together. It's
The
my
raw
favorite
energy, it's so
sounding
good.
AC/DC album for
Yeah,
sure.
I
hands
can
down.
see that.
And it's got so many good tracks. Again, it's like you're listening to a greatest hits album.
Yep.
You know, Highway to Hell. If You Want Blood, I love that track. Night Prowler, I love that. Love Hungry Man. I love that track, man. That is such a great tune. It's such a great one to sing along with. Love Hungry Man. Absolutely love it. Problem Child, Shot Down in Flames. It just, Girls Got
Hold on, what?
Hungry Man. Absolutely love it. Problem Child, Shot Down.
Problem? Did you really just say that Problem Child is on Highway to Hell? No, it is on Dirty Deeds. I don't know where you got Problem Child from.
Down in Flames. It just, Girls Got Rhythm. Touch Too Much, man, it just doesn't stop, man. I mean, I love Touch Too Much as well. Such a powerful song, great one to jam. Everything about this band is sex and lust, you know what I mean? It's freaking, how could you not get turned on after listening to something like Touch Too Much, man? It's just such a, you know, that's Bon Scott's lyrics again, you know. That guy had to be the biggest horn dog there was. Probably the horniest lead singer of all time.
Yeah.
But I love Highway to Hell. It is such a great rock record, man. But coming at number one for me, and I know it's the generic answer, but it just is what it is, man. And that is Back in Black. I've always loved this album ever since I was a kid.
Also, it came out on my birthday, excluding the year. It came out, well, my birthday's the 25th of July, 2002. This came out on the 25th of July, 1980. So this is another album that has a very special place in my heart. And that's not the reason why it's not a reason at all that it's my favorite album. I just find it, I didn't even realize till later on down the track that it came out that day. And I was so happy when I did, because Back in Black, it is pure perfection. Once again, I know, like you said, it's generic, but
it's one of my
this album is
favorite rock
actually
albums
perfect.
of all
It is
time.
perfect.
It just, as soon as I put it on, I have to listen to the whole thing.
Yep.
It is a great tribute to Bon Scott. It's a great
Back in Black is
celebration
so
of his
good.
life. This album does not mean death at all. I mean, Have a Drink on Me is my favorite tune on this thing. And
Such
I
a
heard
Bond
Brian
song.
Johnson say, you know, that's what we say is, you know, at funerals and stuff. He's like, have a drink on me. I'll have a drink on him. You're celebrating their life like a wake. You know, we have their wake and stuff like that. You know, the Scottish and Irish, I believe, are very much like that. You know, they say, have a drink on me. Love that track. That really
Have a drink
blues
on
kind of
me.
riff
Like,
to it. It just builds and builds. A lot of the songs really build on this, man. Hell's Bells, one of the greatest songs ever, man. Great riff. Shoot the Thrill. You know, after Angus comes out of the solo, it kind of goes quiet. They build and they build and they build. And, you know, Angus compares it to like an old Clint Eastwood movie, like The Good, Bad, and the Ugly, where, you know, the guitar is like a gun, you know what I mean? And they're building it up. Like the gunfight is being built up until it's like, shoot you, shoot you, shoot to thrill. You know what I mean? It's freaking great, man. Honey, What Do You Do for Money? Great track.
it's
Shake
money.
a Legs, another great track. Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution, just a banger, man.
Just a 12 Leg is highly slept on.
And, you know, your hits, Shook My Night Long and Back in Black. Yeah, they're overplayed through the years, but you put them on, they're still great rock songs. They're hits for a reason, man. And, you know, Shook My Night Long has such a catchy beat to it, such a catchy rhythm. That's like you always get the girls.
I remember learning it on drums, and I remember reading the sheet music, I'm like, wow, there was some things in there, I'm like, wow, I didn't expect Phil Rudd to come out with this sort of thing that because he usually, like, you know, most of the songs, you know, lays down a solo beat, adds some crashes, some build-up feels with the toms and does some stuff. But I remember, like, really looking into what he plays when You Shoot Me All Night Long. I'm like, especially during, like, the solo, I was like, wow, this is actually pretty cool for this song.
Dancing when you put that on. Back in Black has such a great groove to it. You know, the way Phil Rudd plays behind the beat and everything like that. Just absolutely terrific. Well, you know,
I know a lot of people say, like, oh, Phil Rudd, he plays the same beat every single time on every single AC/DC song. But also, you got to think that Angus Young approves of this stuff. Phil Rudd's, if Angus Young didn't like it, he wouldn't let it happen. And And the reason why he lets it happen is because it works. It doesn't matter if he keeps doing it, because it works, right? It works with the song, 100%. And obviously, Phil Rudd adds in things, like he adds in crashes when it's important. He adds in some pretty, like, simplistic but really cool, really simple fills. But they work. You don't have to do complicated drum parts for it to be a good song. And that's why I love AC/DC drums so much. Because even though I will say it is repetitive, and it is, the beat is pretty much almost the same throughout most of the tracks, it works. And that's why I love it. Angus is not going to go like, oh, we got to keep them interested. So, add in these fills, do this beat with some things, add a double kick in there. Why the hell not? He just lets Phil Rudd do the thing, and it works. That's why I love Phil Rudd's drumming so much, and I love Phil Rudd as a drummer. It's because he knows, he knows that simplicity is key sometimes. And when it comes to AC/DC, simplicity is key.
You know what the sleeper song is on this? And that's Let Me Put My Love Into You. That is like slow blues to AC/DC standards. There's really kind of slow groove to it.
I sort of, that's sort of
just
ruined the flow a bit.
To a ballad, I think. Let me put my love into you, babe.
That's such
a
Bond song as well.
Dun, 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 bow. Man, it grew on me over the years. I absolutely love Let Me Put My Love Into You. You know what I mean? Just love it. This is just a great album that has all the riffs, great production, really in-your-face rock, and it became one of the best rock albums of all time. I think Thriller is the only album that beat it out. That says something, man.
Yep. Back in Black is the second highest-selling album of all time, behind Michael Jackson's Thrill.
AC/DC, they come off tragedy, losing their singer. They hire Brian Johnson, and look what they do. They rock us to death.
They were almost going to step down after Bond died.
I just absolutely love. And I know it's the generic answer, but I can't help it, man.
Couldn't really care less if it was the generic
answer. Record. But that's my ranking of all 16 AC/DC studio albums. They're international release studio albums. Let me know in the comments what your ranking would look like, or you can just name your favorites, songs, whatever. Just to have a good talk about AC/DC. And I thank all of you who are watching this video. Thank you so much for giving me your time. I got a lot more content coming up for you guys. So just be patient, stay tuned for more. And my name is Jason. You're watching BACKTRACK Records. I'll see you next time, and rock on, man.
Well done. Well done. That was so good. Good video. Obviously, there were a few things that I did disagree with, like the whole thing about, Razor's Edge being cut off of the Razor's Edge and stuff like that. But other than that, great video. Not a bad ranking at all. There were a few things that I might have swapped out and stuff. But other than that, this wasn't really a ranking that really pissed me off or anything. I think it was a really good one. And I turned a 23-minute video into a 58-minute reaction. So stupid. And I've got places to be. I've got to get to the gym. And I have work later on in the afternoon. So I've got to get out of here. So thank you all so much for watching. Once again, be sure to check out the original video. If you did not watch the original video beforehand like I requested, please do. Please do. And be sure to go check out the BACKTRACK Records YouTube channel. I will leave a link in the description. Once again, both the channel and the video as well. And yeah, the next video on the channel will be my first time playing the new Black Ops 6 Zombies map, Shattered Veil, which comes out, I don't know if it actually, I don't know if it comes out today for us because we're Australian and it's the 1st of April for America. I don't know. But the next video on the channel will be Shattered Veil. If it ends up that the video has to be a different video, I will let you guys know. But as of now, the next video on the channel will be my first time playing the new Black Ops 6 Zombies map, Shattered Veil. But anyway, guys, that is it. That is going to be the end of the video. It's almost about to hit an hour, and I've got places to be. So thank you all so much for watching. And, yeah, I've got nothing else to say, so I hope you guys have a good day, and I will catch you all next week. I did not stop the recording. The recording is still going.